Now I'm excited to bring to you guys our next guest, a friend of mine who I've known for quite a bit, and every time I've ran into this man in person, he's always been kind to me and always a kind-hearted person, and I'm excited to hear about what he has going on. I saw some of it happening on Facebook, and I figured we should bring him on the show to talk about it. And welcome to the show, Nathan Cox of Virginia Cop Block. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. I'm excited to talk with you. It's been a while, and as I saw the other day on your Facebook page, you seem to be pretty busy dealing with this situation. So why don't you catch us up with what's going on? You there, Nate?
I'm not quite sure what happened, but yeah. So from the start, I got pulled over by this state trooper here in Virginia almost 2 years ago. It was Memorial Day weekend, and of course, the state police literally what seemed like they had all the police out on the interstates that weekend collecting as much revenue as possible. And it was a Saturday. I was coming home from a side job, and it was about 100 degrees that day. And I was about a mile and a half away from my exit, and I happened to pass a traffic stop that involved one motorist trying to, just get to wherever he was going, and there was about 4 or 5 state troopers, at that particular scene. And I drove by that scene on the interstate, with the flow of traffic, and I got a pretty hard stare down from one of the officers. I can't remember really who it was, but anyway, long story short, about 2 minutes later, an unmarked black Dodge Magnum came up on my butt and wanted to pull me over. So I ended up pulling over about a half mile from my exit, and coincidentally, right where I pulled over, there was 2 more state troopers in the median to the left of where I pulled over. So that was a total of about 7 state troopers within a mile. Anyway, she pulled me over. She came up to my car and immediately demanded that I get out. And while doing so, she opened up my car door and continued to demand that I get out. By this time, I was recording with my cell phone, and you can see that footage in the article that I wrote up at virginiacopblock.org. But I was recording her as I got out of the car, and she actually started swatting towards my phone and making contact with me because she didn't want me recording her. She told me several times that she was afraid that my cell phone could be a gun. However, in those same sentences and from the other side of her mouth, so to speak, she continued to refer to what I was holding as my cell phone, and she acknowledged that I was recording her. So after about probably 3 or 4 minutes of arguing back and forth with this woman and her trying to come after me, she was about like 5 foot tall, so I was holding the phone over her head, and she couldn't really reach it. Anyway, I ended up complying, and I kind of regret doing that, but I ended up complying, and I put the cell phone down, leaning against the spoiler on the trunk of my car and facing the front of her car because she had me in between the rear of my car and the front end of her car, and I still wanted to record if possible. So then she proceeded to explain why she pulled me over, which was because I did not have a front license plate tacked onto my car, and I tried to explain to her that somebody had bumped off my license plate holder in the Walmart parking lot, and that I did, in fact, have the license plate in my car. It just wasn't attached to the front of my car. And the other reason why she pulled me over was because my inspection sticker was expired. I ended up being detained on the side of the road for about 30 minutes. 3 more state troopers came and guarded me while she wrote the ticket. And apparently the majority or all 3 of those state troopers knew who I was from Virginia Cop Block and from previous times being on the news with issues with the police. So I ended up going to court about that. I got one of the tickets dismissed because I fought him, and the other ticket I got found guilty. And after I dealt with that, I ended up filing or submitting a Freedom of Information Act request and I was asking for her dashboard camera, all electronic communication, her radio transmissions, and I wanted a history of her any sort of like behavioral issues, complaints from citizens, so to speak, or misconduct related stuff. So I ended up getting the Freedom of Information article back the information from that request back a couple months later, and I found some very concerning and incriminating stuff from that. I got her dashboard camera, and if you watch that video, which has about half a million views now on our Virginia Cop Block YouTube channel, it actually shows her talking to her colleagues in her car, and she admitted that she knew it wasn't a cell phone, she knew it wasn't a firearm that I was holding, although she continued to try to claim that it was. But she said to her colleagues she just did not want to be on YouTube. So she
hate that.
Yeah, and I was upset because I tried to tell her that we have a right to record the police, and I knew most cops don't want to be on YouTube, and so I was a little upset about that. So anyway, I got that. I got a series of text messages also that she was communicating with her colleagues. Some of the text messages says stuff like, we have to tell the judge about that guy, and this is before I went to court. Another text message says something like, I know where that guy lives. I'm going to keep an eye on him, and if he doesn't correct these problems, I'm gonna ticket him every 24 hours or something like that.
How long ago was that you got this information? The FOIA request? This information?
Yes.
How long ago was that though?
That was that's exactly it. So after I got the information is when I published the article about the incident, and that was in August of 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you go to virginiacopblock.org, the article that I wrote this past Wednesday about the lawsuit, I linked to the original article in that article about the lawsuit. So the one piece of information that the Virginia State Police refused to give me, which is probably one of the most important pieces, is that they would not give me any history or records of complaints against her or misconduct-related or behavioral-related issues. And but they did say that they were holding back a total of 86 records. Now, I don't know if that's 86 records exclusively having to do with the state trooper that pulled me over, or if that's 86 records total. I don't know. But either way, that's a pretty serious concern of mine. Apparently, they're exempt under the Virginia State Freedom of Information Act law. There's some special exemption in there, which is absolutely absurd, because if there's guys in costumes with guns, an arsenal of lethal and non-lethal weapons at their disposal, and they have a history of misconduct or behavioral or complaints, I mean, that is a public safety matter, and people need to know about these aggressive people that have a history of complaints and misconduct. So that's actually something I'm going to be working to try to overturn if any state legislators might be interested in helping me out with that. So now, fast forward two years later, I haven't had any contact with this woman since then. And 2 weeks ago from tomorrow, actually, is when I received this warrant in debt. I had never heard of such a thing, and when I first read it, my initial thought was, wait a minute, because it said $5,000 on there in defamation. I thought for a minute that I might have missed a court date and that I owed them somehow supposedly $5,000. So anyway, I went public with it this past Wednesday after I had a chance to talk with my attorneys, and that's when the news jumped all over it, and it's gotten a lot of attention since then. But like I said, on the warrant, it just says defamation. There's no addendum to it with any sort of allegations or any facts or any bill of attainder or anything like that. So I have no idea what she's trying to claim as far as any sort of defamatory statements. I can only assume that she's upset that the 3 videos of her from that day that have a total of over 500,000 views, she's probably upset about that. You can read the article for yourself and look at the videos. And my attorneys and the media they all say that this is very strange, very rare, and nothing in there that I wrote is considered defamatory. If anything, it's just considered political opinion and like hyperbole, so to speak. So that's pretty much where we're at.
So the cop can't handle you writing a little article talking about what she did, and once again, police try to hide from being filmed. I mean, so there's not a whole lot of too much surprising information being revealed in your case. It's showing them doing what they do best, but I think it's important because it does highlight these important issues. Like, you were able to find out some really important things through the FOIA request. So although, you know, Freedom of Information Act requests won't always reveal what you're looking for, and oftentimes they're blacked out and stuff like that, you were able to get something valuable, and that's important. And it's important, I think, for you to continue this push and to go further with it. And so now you're being accused of defamation. And you said you have no more specific information on what it was that you wrote or where it is that the alleged defamation happened.
Yeah, she did not make any specific claims. All it's on there is defamation. So, I mean, people can go back and read the article that I wrote and take a look at the videos, but, I mean, there's really nothing there. I mean, I feel pretty confident that this is already a victory on my end. From what I've been told by attorneys, defamation cases are extremely hard to prove and hard to win because you have to prove several different elements like malicious intent, damages, and a couple other things. And you know, I'm not in the habit of making malicious statements towards anybody or defamatory statements towards anybody. And in regards to the Freedom of Information Act request, in that dashboard camera that I got, that's about a little over 28 minutes long, it actually shows the officer who claimed that my cell phone could have been a gun. As she was leaving from where I was being detained with the other officers and walking back to her car to write me the tickets, she went so far to grab my cell phone from the spoiler and turn it face down so it would stop recording her. So after I found that out, I thought about suing her because I feel like she violated my rights to record her, and she trespassed against my property when she moved my phone like that. But of course, you know, these people have immunity, and the only person or entity I could have sued was the Virginia State Police. And but now, because this lady's doing this, my attorneys are under the belief that she's kind of given up her throne of immunity, so to speak. So there's a possibility. Well, it's very likely we're going to countersue. However, I actually plan on emailing this woman tomorrow. I acquired her email address, and I'm going to try to encourage her and persuade her to go ahead and drop this suit, because I mean it's on the verge of getting national attention. I just got a phone call and a letter from the Judge Judy show out in L.A.
That's what I heard, man. Are you going to go on Judge Judy?
No, I'm not, because of course both parties have to consent, and she'll never consent. And I probably, although there's a number of pros to go on the show, I just feel like that would kind of that might discredit what's actually going on. But, you know, she just seems to be like one of these type of cops. There's like a percentage of cops out there who are literally like fearful of doing their jobs for some reason. Like they decide to become a cop, but they're like, they stay in like a perpetual state of fear. And she definitely seemed to be like one of them. And after that incident, I posted a comment or a status on our Virginia Cop Block Facebook page, and I said, has anybody else had run-ins with this woman? And we had a number of people, a handful of people said that they did, and all their experiences were very negative and rude and this, that, and the other. And, you know, in my opinion, cops who are scared to perform their job and who think that they're going to get shot at every second of the day, those are the dangerous ones. I mean, There was just a viral story about a week ago about a 70-year-old man in South Carolina who was driving his pickup truck with his wife, who got pulled over by some cop, and he gets out of his truck. I don't know if he got out of the truck at the request of the cop or not, but he gets out of the truck. He leans over into the bed of the truck to grab his cane, and the cop starts firing on him and shoots him a couple times. I don't know if the guy lives or not, but, I mean, the guy admitted he was scared. I mean, this is what we're dealing with, you know?
Yep,
So
they're running wild out there, man. It's good for you to hold them accountable. I'm glad that you're doing just that. What's the next move for you? Just basically trying to get her to drop the lawsuit. If that doesn't happen, you got to deal with that, possibly countersuit. How can we help out?
yeah, absolutely. So I'm waiting to hear back from my attorney tomorrow because I need him to screen this email to make sure it can't be misinterpreted or interpreted the wrong way. But I plan on sending the email tomorrow. The court date as it stands right now is for June 23rd. However, it's in small claims court, and they don't really let attorneys go into those smaller courts. However, of course, we do have a right to an attorney. So if she does not dismiss this or whatever, remove it on her own, then my attorneys are going to remove the case from small claims court to a bigger court like general district or circuit court where they can represent me. And if she wants to play hardball, then we certainly will countersue her. As far as help from the public, probably the most effective thing the public can do is just continue to get the story out there, because she didn't want any attention to begin with, and I don't know. I mean, this is a very, very rare scenario, and I continue to hear that from various attorneys who reach out to me and from various journalists who continue to reach out to me.
I think that's true, man. It's very true that you've got the cops straight up caught texting and on camera lying, and you have a chance to put her in her place and hopefully bring some accountability to there. What's the website for Virginia Cop Block, or where's the best place to check all those links out?
Yeah, so if you go to virginiacopblock.org, it's just one long virginiacopblock.org, and the top article will be the one that I just published this past Wednesday, going public with the lawsuit. And in that short article, there's an image of a press release, there's an image of the warrant I uploaded, and there's a number of links in that article to the original article that I wrote about the traffic stop and the results of the Freedom of Information Act request. So if people want to go there and check it out, I would encourage them to check it out and to share it. You can also find our social media outlets, YouTube, Twitter, and our YouTube channel, and Facebook, whatever, at the top right of that page. We've got a ton of excellent videos on our YouTube channel, and I encourage people to check them out.
Awesome. Thank you so much for talking with us tonight. This has been Nathan Cox of Virginia Cop Block. Thank you for joining us, brother.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate you getting my story out there.
Definitely. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Have a good one.
Good, powerful stuff. Like you said, that is pretty unique to be in a situation where you can actually put the cops in their place like that and have them caught on camera and in their own words lying about what they're accusing you of. So hopefully he can push that case, and I doubt this defamation case from the state is going to go anywhere. Obviously he's got